Okay. Today we will discuss about HTTP, means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay. Last class we completed our first chapter. Okay. So today we will be discussing about HTTP. So HTTP means, what is the full form of HTTP? Can you hear me now? My voice is audible. Hunito asa?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, what is HTTP? HTTP means the full form of HTTP is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. Okay. Now, when I say protocol, what is mean by protocol? Any idea what is mean by protocol?
Ma'am, rules.
Yes, rules. Protocols is nothing but some rules. Means it is like, in simply, we can say, suppose if we want to write a letter, okay, suppose we want to write a letter, we follow some certain protocol or we follow some certain rules. And what are the rules? The rules are that the place where we write our address, there is some specific place, right? At that place we write our address, and there is a place for fix the stamp. Okay, there is a place for writing the name of the recipient. Okay, the way we begin with and the way we end with, there are some rules. Okay, in simple language I am just giving you the simple example. Okay, there are some rules. That rules are known as protocol. So what is protocol? Protocol is a standard procedure for defining and regulating communication. Okay, how to regulate, communicate, and for defining and regulating communication. Clear? Protocol clear? What is protocol? So now we will just see what is HTTP. Okay, HTTP means, what is HTTP? It is a web application layer protocol. Okay, we know how many layers are there. There are 7 layers. Okay, we know the layers, right? So what is HTTP? HTTP is a application layer protocol, and it is used for transferring data between the client and the server. Okay, so basically it is used for interaction between web client, that is client, and web server. Okay, means it deliver data. Okay, it delivers data. What kind of data? Like HTML files, images on web or on www, what is known as web. Okay, so what is basically a HTML? Means Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It is a web's application layer protocol for transferring data between client and server. Okay, it is basically used for interaction between the client and the web server. Clear? What is HTTP? So, you might have heard about HTTPS. Okay, one is HTTP and another one is HTTPS. Okay, HTTP is work on the application layer, as I told you right now. Okay, now S means what? S means what? S means what? Secure. Okay, HTTPS is work on transport layer, whereas HTTP work on application layer. Okay, but both of them use for same application like web browsing. Okay, we use HTTPY for searching, for web browsing, right? So both these two protocol use for search, web browsing, but HTTP work on application layer and HTTPS, S means secure. and it works on transport layer. Okay, so basically what is HTTP? It is clear. HTTP is clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? This is HTTP. Okay, so now we will see some features of HTTP. Okay, so first is HTTP. First is connectionless. HTTP is connectionless. We are talking about HTTP, not HTTPS. Okay. So first features is connectionless. Now, what is meant by connectionless? Connectionless means HTTP client, that is a browser, means through which we send a request. That is a browser initiate a HTTP request to the server. Suppose this is where is the pen? So, like this is client, this is server. Okay. Okay, first what to do? HTTP client, that is we request, if we want to search anything, we search it from our browser. We have Mozilla, we have Google Chrome, there are various browsers are there, right? So what we do, from a browser initiate a HTTP request to the server. Okay, and after a request is made, the client disconnect from the server. When the client request, when the client request anything for the server, to the server, after the request is complete, it forgets everything, or it disconnect from the server. It disconnect from the server. Okay, and wait for a response. It disconnect from the server and wait for a response. Okay, the server processes the request at the server. The request is processes, means whatever the client is asking for, it processes, it searches the what is say the data, it processes the request, and after that re-establish the connection, and after that re-establish the connection with the client, and send a response back. Okay, first features is HTTP is connectionless. Connectionless means what? When a browser send a request, suppose this is a browser. Okay, this is a client computer, and in client computer we are requesting from a browser, from suppose Mozilla or from suppose Google Chrome, we are requesting anything to the server. Okay, as soon as the request is made, the client get disconnect from the server. Okay, and wait for a response. Okay, the server, what the server does, it processes the request at the server, and it processes the request. Okay, and then re-establish the connection with the client. Okay, and then re-establish the connection with the client and send a response back. That is why it is known as connectionless. Clear? Now, second feature is it is media independent. Okay, now what is meant by media independent? It means that any type of data can be sent by HTTP. Any type of data, whether it is text, whether it is your images, whether it will be your video. So any type of data can be sent by HTTP as long as both the client and the server know how to handle the data content. Means as soon, means what, the client requests the server for something. if the server found if the server find, okay, then the server give a response to the client. So in it is independent, it is not dependent on any data, like it can only give the text, it can only give you the images, it doesn't depend on that. Okay, any type of data can be sent by http from server to the client. It can be your text, it can be your images, it can be your audio file, anything. Okay, so the third features is http is stateless. Okay, now what is mean by stateless? What is mean by stateless? Stateless means what? HTTP is stateless protocol. Now, what is mean by stateless protocol? It is called stateless protocol because both client and server does not expect anything from each other. Okay, both client and server doesn't expect anything from each other, but they are still communicate with each other. Means what? If a particular client asks for suppose you are asking for same thing twice in a period of few seconds, so what does the server does? The server does not respond by saying that it just by saying that it just served the object to the client just now. I have just served it to you just now. Instead, what it does, instead, the server resend the object or resend the thing as it has completely forgotten what you request earlier. Okay, means in simply we can say that we can say it is stateless because the server and client are not aware of each other. After disconnect means what? The server and client, they know each other during the current request, only when the request is made. Afterwards both of them forget about each other. Due to this nature, neither the client nor the browser can retain information about different requests across the web pages. So each request from same client is treated as a new request. It is clear why it is stateless, why it is known as stateless? Because it maintains no information about client. It is clear or not why it is known as stateless?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So basically here three features are there. Three features of HTTP are there. One is the connectionless. Second one is the media independent. Third one is stateless. Okay. What is connectionless? Connectionless means what? Client, that is browser, whenever browser initiate a request to the client, client disconnect from the server and wait for a response. Okay. The server At the server end, the request is processed and re-establish the connection with the client to send the response. First one. The second one, what is second one? It is media independent. It means that any type of data can be sent by HTTP. Okay. Number third one is it is stateless. What is meant by stateless? Stateless means that both client and server doesn't expect anything from each other. Means the server and the client are aware of each other during the current request. After that, both the server and the client forget about each other. Okay. Suppose I am just giving you the example. Suppose you are asking for same object twice. If you are asking for the same object twice within a few seconds, the server doesn't respond you like I have already sent this to you. Instead, what it does, it just respond like that. Like that, it has completely forgotten what you request earlier, like a fresh request, a fresh response. Okay, so these are three features of HTTP. So what is HTTP? What are the features of HTTP? It is clear? Clear or not? So in simple, I am just giving you some I can say characteristic of HTTP. These are the features, same thing, features, or either you can say some characteristic of HTTP. So, first one is that server processes a request, means which is raised by client, means client request, client is request for anything to the server. Okay, and client is requesting anything to the server. Okay, and server processes the request, and also uh, when client requests anything to the server, at the server end it processes the request. Okay, and give you, and at that time the client disconnect, and after some time the server again reestablish a connection and send you back the result. Okay, so what are the result? Any type of content can be exchanged between the server and the client. Okay, so once the data is exchanged between the server and the client, after that the server and client are no more connected with each other. Okay, so basically it is a request and response protocol based on client and server requirement. Okay, so we can say it is a connectionless protocol because after connection is closed, server doesn't remember anything about client and client doesn't remember anything about server. That's why it is connectionless, and it is stateless. Why? Because both the server and the client doesn't expect anything from each other. Okay, so these are the features. I'm just I will just give you a what I can say brief about how it works. Okay, so next class we will discuss about the working principle, how it works, how the HTTP works. But today I'm just giving you a brief about how it works. Okay, so how the HTTP work? First of all, whenever suppose whenever we open any website, then first what we do? Then first we open a browser. Okay, and after that we type any URL. Suppose facebook.com, www.facebook.com we type. So that URL is now sent to DNS, domain name server. Okay, and then DNS will check the record for this URL in the database, and then DNS will return the IP address to the browser which is associated to this URL, suppose facebook.com. Okay, now the what the browser do? Now the browser is able to send request to actual server. Okay, now the browser is able to send request to actual server. Now when the browser send request to the server, after server, when the browser request to the actual server, the server processes the data and reply to the client. So after server sends data to the client, the connection will be closed. Okay, if we want something else from the server, or if we want something more from the server, we have to re-establish the connection between the client and the server. Clear? It is just a simple browser and server architecture, that we can say the two-tier architecture, client and server, right? So this is a small, I'm just giving you a brief idea about how it works. First, the browser sent a request to the server. Okay, after that the server processes that request. Okay, then the server sends a reply back to the client. Okay, after the server send data to the client, connection will be closed. And after that, if you want something more from the server, you have to re-establish the connection again. Clear? Clear or not? Hello? Clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.